most disturbing TV moments psychological iceberg. Live television is supposed to be entertainment. You sit down, turn on the news or a show, and expect things to go as planned. But sometimes, things go wrong. And when that happens, the whole world is watching. No edits, no warning. In this iceberg, we'll descend through the most disturbing moments ever captured on live TV. Some were tragic, some were horrifying, and others felt like the camera should have never been rolling in the first place. This is the most disturbing TV moments psychological iceberg, where we start with strange, uncomfortable scenes and sink into terrifying moments that haunt millions. Let's begin at the surface. Level 1. Strange and unsettling. Nancy Kerrigan attack, 1994. Figure skater Nancy Kerrigan had just finished practice when a man walked up behind her and hit her knee with a metal baton. Cameras weren't rolling during the hit, but they were there for what happened next. Her screams. Why? She cried as she lay on the ground. People thought it was just a crazy fan, but later it came out that the attack was planned by people close to her rival, Tonya Harding. It wasn't just a random act. It was done to knock Nancy out of the competition. What made this moment disturbing wasn't just the attack. It was the fact that it worked. Nancy missed the championship, and Tonya took her spot. There were no broken bones, no major injuries, but the damage was deep. This wasn't just an injury. It was a betrayal of trust, a reminder that even in something as beautiful as figure skating, cruelty can hide behind a smile. It awakened something deeper, the fear of being targeted quietly, not because of who you are, but because you're in someone's way. It teaches us something ugly early on. Sometimes the people who hurt you don't hate you. They just want what you have. But this was only a knee, only a baton. What happens when the damage isn't just personal, but permanent? Let's move to level 2, where the accidents don't just hurt, they change who you are forever. Level 2, when people got hurt. Mike Tyson bites Holyfield's ear, 1997. The boxing world was shocked. Millions were watching live. It was one of the biggest fights in history, Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. But during the match, something strange happened. Holyfield accidentally headbutted Tyson. Tyson got angry, and then did something no one saw coming. He leaned in and bit off a piece of Holyfield's ear. Then he spat it onto the floor. Fans screamed. Commentators froze. The fight was stopped, and Tyson was disqualified. The ring wasn't a place for sports anymore. It had become a place of real violence. But the most disturbing part? We saw a human mind break in real time. Tyson didn't look wild. He looked calm, focused, like something had snapped, and the line between competition and cruelty was gone. This moment pulls out something deep in our brains, the fear of losing control or watching someone else do it. The fear that the person across from you might stop following the rules and nothing can stop them. For adults, it also raises another fear. What happens when your anger becomes public? When a bad thought turns into a violent act and the whole world is watching? But Tyson's breakdown was still visible. We saw it happen. But what happens when the audience doesn't even realize something went wrong? Let's move to level 3, death mistaken for a joke, where tragedy happens right in front of us and nobody understands it's real. Level 3, death mistaken for a joke. Tommy Cooper dies on stage, 1984. Tommy Cooper was a famous British comedian. He made people laugh by doing magic tricks that always went wrong on purpose. His clumsy style became part of the fun. People expected him to mess up. One night he was performing on live TV. Suddenly, he grabbed his chest and collapsed on stage. The crowd burst into laughter. They thought it was part of the act, another one of his silly tricks. But this time, it wasn't a joke. Tommy was having a real heart attack. He died behind the curtain. The show didn't stop right away. The cameras kept rolling. For several minutes, the audience kept laughing, not realizing a man had just died in front of them. This moment stirs a deep, strange kind of horror. It's not just about death. It's about not recognizing death. It makes us think, what if I laugh at someone who's really in pain? What if no one helps me because they think I'm joking? The mind doesn't know how to process that kind of mistake. It causes emotional confusion, a mix of shame and fear. Adults watching this often feel something deeper, the fear of being in trouble but not being believed, of dying alone in a room full of people who think it's funny. But sometimes laughter hides tragedy, and sometimes tragedy changes everything. The next level is about those moments, the ones so shocking they force the whole industry to change. These aren't just sad stories, they're turning points. Level 4. Accidents that changed everything. Vittenda's stunt gone wrong, 2010. In Germany, a popular game show called Vittenda's let regular people try risky stunts while celebrities guessed whether they'd succeed. It was meant to be fun, a mix of danger and entertainment. One contestant, Samuel Koch, came on the show with spring-loaded boots. His goal was to jump over a line of moving cars. He jumped over a few. The crowd cheered. But then he didn't make it. He hit the ground hard. His body folded. The camera kept rolling as people rushed in. He was taken to the hospital, but the damage was done. He had broken his neck. Samuel would be paralyzed for life. That episode became the last for the show. Vittenda's was canceled. Viewers weren't just sad, they were shocked. Something had shifted. The line between fun and danger had finally snapped. This moment hit something deep, the loss of innocence. We watch these shows expecting laughter, tension, excitement. We never expect a life to end on screen. But it did, and people saw it. They saw the final steps of a young man's old life forever frozen on TV. Psychologically, this is the fear of public transformation, when your body fails in front of millions and you don't just lose movement, you lose your identity. Samuel didn't die, but the life he knew did, and everyone watched it happen. But what happens when cameras don't just capture an accident and no one could look away? Level 5. Real violence on camera. Allison Parker and Adam Ward, 2015. It was a quiet morning in Virginia. Two local news reporters, Allison Parker and Adam Ward, were doing a live interview at a small shopping plaza. Viewers at home watched like any other day. Nothing unusual, just the morning news. Then a man appeared behind the camera. Suddenly, gunshots, screams. The camera fell. The broadcast cut out. What people didn't know yet was that both reporters had been killed on air. The gunman was a former co-worker who'd planned everything. And later, a sunny day, a familiar voice on the news. And then, horror. For viewers, it shattered something deep. The belief that real life and real violence are separate. The brain can't process it the same way. It feels personal. It feels wrong. You feel like a witness to something you weren't meant to see. But there's another fear that goes even deeper. Not just seeing one moment of horror, but watching an entire world fall apart in real time. The next level isn't about one camera, one gunman, or one broadcast. It's about huge disasters, where thousands of people are watching live as tragedy unfolds, and no one can stop it. Level 6. Mass disasters seen live. Hillsborough Stadium disaster, 1989. It started as a normal soccer match in Sheffield, England. Thousands of fans came to cheer. But inside the stadium, the standing section was already too full. Then the police opened one more gate, and the crowd surged in. What followed was pure chaos. People were pushed forward, crushed against fences. There was no space to move, no air to breathe. The game was still being broadcast live, so viewers watched as joy turned into horror. They saw people screaming, climbing fences, and others going completely still. 97 people died. Hundreds more were hurt. And for years, the officials blamed the fans, saying they had caused the stampede. But later, the truth came out. The disaster was caused by bad planning, poor safety, and deadly mistakes by the police. The psychological weight of Hillsborough is massive. This is institutional betrayal, when the people in charge, the ones who are supposed to keep you safe, are the ones who put you in danger. Viewers were left with moral confusion and survivor's guilt, even those watching from home. Because what they saw wasn't just tragedy, it was the slow, painful collapse of trust and authority. When no one stops the disaster and the cameras keep rolling, it teaches you something terrifying. Even in front of thousands of witnesses, no one may save you. But as awful as that was, there is one final level. One where the screen becomes cursed and the line between real life and nightmare is completely broken. When the moment doesn't just shock you, it scars you, leaves you shaken, wondering why was this ever allowed to air in the first place? Let's move to Level 7. Level 7. Moments that should never have aired. Marita Munoz killed on camera, 1993. In Argentina, a news crew went to a cemetery to film a simple interview. A man had lost his daughter and was there to speak about her. The camera started rolling, but before the interview could finish, his ex-wife, the girl's mother, arrived by car. What happened next was shocking. The man walked up to her, pulled out a gun, and shot her in the head. Then he fired again and again. The reporters screamed and ran. The camera kept rolling. The murder was caught on video and later shown on television. Their 18-month-old child was in the back seat of the car watching it all unfold. That child lost everything in a matter of seconds. One parent to death, the other to prison. Psychologically, this isn't just a violent act. It's a break in reality. A moment where something so personal, so tragic, is turned into content. It forces the viewer into a horrible position. You weren't meant to see this, but you did. This is the trauma of witnessing something that should have remained private. Something too raw, too human to ever be televised. It leaves a deep emotional scar. You feel guilt for watching, shame for not looking away, and fear that something this real could happen right in front of you and be used for headlines. By now, the water is black. We've reached the bottom of the iceberg, the darkest part. These weren't just shocking moments. They were emotional fractures. These moments weren't from horror movies. They were real. People lived them. Some died. Others were changed forever. And millions of viewers witnessed it all, often without warning. TV is supposed to show us stories, but sometimes it shows us pain. It shows us just how fragile life is when everything goes wrong, and the cameras are still rolling. Thanks for watching. If you want more disturbing iceberg videos, check out the next one here. Just be ready. It only gets darker from here.